I've waited till the morning after to record this. A change of manager, a change of tactics, a 5-0 home defeat against relegation rivals. The phone lines to Radio WM log jammed as fans call in to complain. Meanwhile, over at Hillsborough, Blues won away, Kyogo scored, we kept a clean sheet. I bought myself some celebratory blueberries. Oh, damn well gonna have one. My name's Simon Brew, and this is Thoughts on the Blues. Hello, and a very warm welcome to Thoughts on the Blues, being recorded the morning after Birmingham City won an away game in the league. This time we were at Sheffield Wednesday. So, and it's worth starting by, first of all, noting this isn't for Sheffield Wednesday fans, this video. Thanks for the click and everything, but this is for Blues. The problem with Sheffield Wednesday is the mismanagement of that club is a disgrace. From a Birmingham City point of view, I'm happy for the points. I want us to beat you. I want to finish above you. All of that stuff. The way that club has been run is absolutely awful. Fans don't deserve that. And yeah, but we move on. This was bluntly a chance for us to earn our third away win of the season. To recap, our previous away wins of the season were away at Blackburn, where we turned it round basically in added on time, and a very, very different away performance against Preston, where we just dug in for most of the game, got a goal, clung onto it, 1-0 win. I don't care at this stage how we get them. This was a big clanging opportunity. And again, no disrespect to Wednesday fans. Teams are rocking up at Hillsborough expecting to win. Sheffield Wednesday, looking at the league table, -7 points. Even if you took away the points deductions and stuff like that, they're still bottom of the league. And the worst team in the league, the worst home record, the worst away record, or one of them. And so, this has been part of a run of games which I would suggest that Blues needed. So, let's dial back. It's only 20 days. This is how fast all this happens. It's only 20 days that we went along to Vicarage Road and our team watched the match play out while some of our players stood on the pitch while the football moved around them. Comfortably one of the worst performances of the season. Watford hammered us 3-0. After that, it was meltdown. The games as we looked after that were home to Coventry, away to Cambridge, away to Swansea and away to Sheffield Wednesday. And I'm not sure on the 1st of January I'd have put much money on us winning 3 of those and drawing the other. I certainly wouldn't have put any money on us being undefeated. But credit where credit's due. We're seeing the impact of what happens when knee-jerk changes are made over at the Hawthorns at the moment. Staggering results. I mean, how's that for a new manager bounce? I can't ever remember a new manager going into a club and losing their first home game 5-0. Rooney even only had the courtesy to lose 2-0 in his first home game, and he was genuinely awful. What's happening over there is interesting. It shows just how frail it all is. There was a point after Watford where we might have even the most optimistic Chris Davies backers, and I'm a Chris Davies in person, wouldn't have been surprised if the trigger had been pulled. Instead, what the board did is double down. And they doubled down, backed in with signings. And, it's still been fairly tumultuous. There's talk about, did Keshi Anderson and Chris Davies fall out? I don't know. There was certainly talk, did he fall out with Taylor Gardner-Hickman? I don't know. I will say that in any place of work where you've got 20, 30 people working in close proximity to each other, people fall out. I don't think that's any more or less dramatic. Do you remember Steve Bruce fell out with Tommy Mooney, didn't he? Just after we got promoted. Happens all the time. You only tend to notice when the results or the performances aren't great. The results and stroke all the performances haven't been great for a little while. The bottom line is we no longer have Keshi Anderson. We no longer have Lyndon Dykes. In place, we have John Solis. Now, that's a start. John Solis, whose name, the first time he goes on a Blues team sheet, we misspell his name. This is part of my ongoing ongoing collection of just like little moments that prove no matter how professional and brilliant the new Blues regime is, there's still those little Blues moments that we love and treasure in there. Fair dues. We have also, we've signed players, haven't we? So let me see if I can get the pronunciation right this time. I know there's at least one person writing. I think it's Ugust Priska. Has signed. Hopefully we'll see him at the weekend. Osman has signed to play on the wing. Ibrahim Osman. John Solis has signed. We've misspelt his name. We know about Kai Wagner. Told there's another winger coming in from Brighton. It was with some interest that I awaited, as all of you did, I'd imagine, the team sheet for away at Sheffield Wednesday. And notwithstanding the typo, it was a mildly surprising team sheet in that the temptation to throw the new players in was resisted. Now, I'm not sure if Osman was available, may or may not have been. I think he was, actually. Prischke, certainly not. But John Solis was, and there he is, sat on the bench. So instead, there was just one change to the team. That out goes Kyogo, up goes Jay Stansfield, up top, Dux behind him. Lewis Kumas holding his place again. And I think most of us looked at the team and thought that should be enough. I can sort of understand why it didn't go all guns blazing on them, but it should have been enough. Now, I ended up, because I can't get Blues TV to work, it just does that thing where it does a fuzzy, like, interference screen, like you're watching BBC Two in the 1980s or something. And so I can't get that. They take my money. I can't get it to work for anything at the moment, but sometimes, let's face it, the interference has been mildly more entertaining than the football. God, there were points in the first half yesterday where there were a couple of moments where there were two footballs on the pitch, and it was no more entertaining in those moments. We didn't look any more likely to score in those moments. So our multi-ball approach, I think we should probably retire that for the time being. But what it meant is, because this was, I ended up having to go to Sky, and because this was a red button game, one of the interesting, not commented on much things about the red button, is suddenly Sky need about 20 or 30 new commentators and analysers for each game. I didn't catch the name of the analyser, a guy to do with Wrexham, I think it was. The commentator barely seemed to be able to see the game. It was quite odd. At one point he's berating us for, I think he was berating Newman for not stopping a shot or something like that when he had. A corner, you've given away a corner. Oh no, it's a goal kick. I don't know if he was watching from about 20 miles away. It wasn't the most convincing of commentary displays. I'm in a glass house. I ain't the most convincing at this, so fair play. But also, they were doing that thing of throwing in all those little bits that you're just like, ugh. So it's like, oh look, there's Jaden Heskey playing in the Sheffield Wednesday team. He's the son of Emile Heskey. That was bound to go wrong, wasn't it? Thought Jaden Heskey had a great game, in fairness. All these stats are rolled out. The two teams with the worst away form in the league. Sheffield Wednesday haven't won at home in God knows how long. Sheffield Wednesday haven't scored at home in God knows how long. Birmingham City, one of the lowest. It just had 1-0 Wednesday written all over it. And so I was kind of, having sat in St Andrews for the home game, where, if you remember, God, how can you forget? If you remember, we went 1-0 up. That was the cash-in game, wasn't it? I haven't checked how he did for Blackburn the other night. But he's already 1 goal up, isn't he? But that was the game where we gifted them back in. Damari Gray saved us in the 184th minute of added on time or something like that. It's like the African Cup of Nations level of added on time. That particular game, we got away with it that night. And I kind of hoped that it wouldn't be. Well, I feared it would be another, will we get away with it? They might be up for this. Hoped that we might be a little bit different. I have to say, the first half did very little for me yesterday. That, it was just frustrating. I wrote a load of notes down as I was going on. But it's just like, it's a lot of the same old. Opposition fans shouting for handball every time someone kicks the ball. That sort of went on. Barry Bannon, if he didn't have a Villa background, you'd almost be you'd have to respect what he's doing for Sheffield Wednesday, but he does have a Villa background. So, booed like mad. He's no fan of us. We're no fan of his. Yeah. And it's just like, okay. There was, just even trying to summarise the first 10 minutes of it. A lot of our games, there's been a fast chance in these matches. First 2-3 minutes, one team goes at the other. You get something out of it, and it was just none of that. It just felt quite tepid, really. There were long throws going in. There was a moment early on where Clara was dragged out of position. It's happened once or twice when he's had to go in and cover a fullback. In this case, a ball comes across. Tommy Doyle had dropped back to cover. Yeah, okay. Sheffield Wednesday breaking free down the left wing. I mean, that happened once or twice, but their final ball, not great at all. And, I mean, it looked like... I mean... I don't know, the early stages, I thought Cambridge Blues was a more interesting game. I don't say that particularly lightly, because I thought for half an hour Cambridge Blues was a bit of a quagmire. But in terms of the bright sparks early in the game, Jay Stansfield, absolutely one of them. I'm seeing a lot of stuff online about how he's not scored for 2 months or something like that. Maybe he shouldn't start, blah, blah, blah. So, my take on Jay Stansfield. First of all, he's been injured. Carrying a knock, I think that's fairly well known now. Secondly, he's been asked to do 3 or 4 different roles in this team. Not very rarely a role he actually wants to do. So we've played him in the number 10 role, we've played him centre forward, we've played him on the wing. I think he's looked the most effective. Was it against Southampton where he played on the wing? It was causing them all sorts of trouble that night. Here, he's up top and he's close. I mean, his work rate is off the chart. That's the thing. So there's a marked difference. And look, we can't all get to every game. I struggle to get to away games. That's why I'm watching it on a crap Sky transmission. One of the things about the differences between watching on the telly and watching in person is, it's obvious. You only watch what the camera is pointed at when you're on the telly. When I'm at St Andrews and watching Stansfield play, the amount of running he does that isn't seen by a camera, that isn't even picked up in the highlights package, is off the chart. And it was the same again. And I think unusually we came up against a really good keeper here, and more usually a team less comfortable with playing out from the back. But we were closing them down. Marvin Dutch was closing them down as well, forcing errors, forcing problems. And there were points in the first half where you sort of saw what we could do when we were passing a bit faster. There was a direct, but certainly in the first 10-15 minutes, we were looking to play a fast direct ball up into space for Stansfield to run into. Doyle played 1 or 2 of those, try and get the ball in. It soon, as the first half went on, it became more James Beadle's going to kick the ball very long for a goal kick or to the opposition keeper. And, Stansfield running created some spaces. And, there was one point as well where Doyle, who I don't think had a great game, didn't have an awful game, didn't have a great game, gets this really fast, zippy cross in and nobody gambles on it. And it sort of bedded in for a while that we looked like the home team. Sheffield Wednesday looked like the away team. This felt a little bit like when we played away at Bristol City to me, that they were happy to take their chances. The difference here was we were expected to win. There was the expectation on that. So our only away win in Donkeys has been away at Cambridge, a League Two team, where we were expected to win. And we huffed and puffed, but we just about won. Here, we were having moments. Roberts has a block shot in the first 20 minutes and stuff like that. And we were also in the first half having a competition. And it was good of the club not to announce this in advance on the website or on social media, because it gave those of us watching a chance to cherry pick what little entertainment was really on offer in the first half. And it was who can take the worst corner competition. So we had 2 contestants. We had Tommy Doyle taking them on one side. We had Kai Wagner taking them on the other side. I'm going to give this one to Doyle. Now, eventually, our corners got good. I haven't forgotten Doyle nearly scored direct from 2 corners against Swansea. I'm all right with Tommy Doyle taking corners. He can hit them. And he hit them last night. 2 of his first 2 corners you could have put Dealey Adebola on Kevin Francis's shoulders and still wouldn't have reached them. And so a couple of corners just straight over the top and okay. Remember when we played Preston away, and Preston's idea of a cross was like not find any of their players. It's like we'd watched that video for a little bit. On the other side, Kai Wagner then took a very curious corner, which you'd imagine had been worked on in training, where it looked like he just played a low pass to the near post. I'm aware that there was some penalty appeals and stuff like that, which looked a bit weak to me, but it just didn't look like a good corner. It's just like, what we done? We just rolled it to him. It looked like the corner taking equivalent of playing in an Ashes test and bowling underarm at Steve Smith. And so, it was tepid. Other bit of entertainment was the commentator looked like, I don't know if he was a fan of Dad's Army or something like that, but he decided that Pek Sung Ho or Paik Sung Ho, either are fine as I understand it, was now called Pike. Pike? I mean, I like Dad's Army, but fair dues. And so, if you can't tell, I was looking for any entertainment I could get in the first half. We were sloppy. I thought Tomoki Iwata had his worst half in a Birmingham shirt. The number of times, his second half a lot better. The number of times, however, in the first half, where we were just passing to a Sheffield Wednesday player, we were making an absolute meal of trying to get out of our half. It was just like, I don't know what. I mean, I'm not a football manager. It's not my job, it's not my job to solve these problems. I can only see what my wonky eye sees, and it is we keep kicking the ball, and somewhere around the halfway line, a Sheffield United player has it and decides to take it back into our half. The number of times I wrote down here, we pass to no one. Don't pass to Barry Bannon. Iwata, sloppy ball. Kumas fumbles that to Barry Bannon, and Barry Bannon is I mean, he loves playing us. I know he hates us. I mean, I sort of respect it. And we give him one of those shots, which gave me, it gave me hives, really. It reminded me of the last-minute winner QPR got, the 803rd minute winner QPR got against us, where their player just has so much room. We're all expecting the ball into the box. We back off, and their guy just, hits a shot. Barry Bannon did that. Thoughtfully, he kept it he hit it with the aiming trajectory of a Liam Daish penalty. So I think the shot's just about come down. But nobody closed him down. It's not like we didn't know who the danger person was going to be. Although, in fairness to Wednesday, some of their youngsters, Kadamatri, I thought looked good. Heskey, I thought looked good. I mean, if I was a Wednesday fan, I'd be really... A, I'd be depressed, but B, I'd be quite encouraged by how much some of those young players really care and really tried to run for their team. Now, there were points then in the first half. It's easy to overlook this. I'm not entirely down on the first half, where we sort of remembered that we're the better team here. And again, no disrespect, but we're the better team. And Kumas gets sort of played in, and a last-ditch tackle, wasn't it? Got it back to the keeper. And, when Kumas was moving into the middle, we were getting a little bit of purchase there. I think the corners got better as well. But then, as I'm coming towards the end, at the end of the first half, Iwata passes to Sheffield Wednesday, I wrote. Iwata passes to Sheffield Wednesday, I wrote. Another last-minute tackle and stop. Jay Stansfield has this terrific effort that Cooper saves. I thought Cooper in their goal, apart from one moment, which moment, was really impressive. And I say that not having been massively impressed by most of the Championship keepers we've come up against. I think most are roughly the same level. But apart from the moment where he caught the ball and looked like he'd walked behind the line, but then I think in fairness to him, when you look at the side-on replay, he's holding the ball so far out in front of himself, even though his back foot's almost in the front row of the stand, he looks like he's holding the ball on the line. Turned out it didn't matter. The ref's got a vibrator, he might have, the ref, I'm not editing that out. The ref's got a vibrating thing in his pocket. It doesn't vibrate. We don't get a goal. It would have been the stroke of luck we sort of needed. Sorry, I've just got this horrible image in my head now. I'm just going to have another blueberry and we'll just have a little pause while I eradicate that image from my head. Again, I ain't editing it. Anyway, then, we go into the second half, and I do wonder, no changes at half-time, but I think even the most charitable Blues fan would suggest that was a 5 out of 10 first half. We'd made Sheffield Wednesday look pretty good. We'd had moments. This wasn't an awful away performance, but we'd certainly had our chances. We probably should have been in front. But then I think the most useful thing that happened to us in the game happened, 4 or 5 minutes into the second half, where, Roberts, it starts up in our own end, as always, where Roberts is attacking. He goes down looking for a foul. Ref's not giving us anything there. I didn't think the ref was bad. Ball goes forward. They get the speed at which they get to the other end of the pitch without much competition from our players is mildly alarming. And this is the bit where it hits the post. So you look at the replay again, and Neumann gets a foot on the ball. Now, it could have gone anywhere. It has gone anywhere in the past. In this case, a crucial foot that deflects it away from goal, away to the post, and it stays out. And this really seemed to piss us off, that's just like, it was almost like the moment of realisation that, hang on, we might actually lose this. And imagine tuning into this video if you're a Blues player afterwards, if we'd lost it. I'm sure they all queue up to watch this. You know, it's their favourite. I know some of their disguised names down in the comments down there. God, can you imagine? So then we sort of come to life, and there was almost a mirror of the Coventry goal straight away. The one where Roberts gets the ball in faster Dux in the penalty area, and Dux just hits it straight away. In this case, goes straight at Cooper in the Sheffield Wednesday goal. But, you know, this is better. Not a minute later, Iwata shapes up to shoot. Now, he's got it's not been his best shooting year. It used to be a delight to scream shoot at Tomoki Iwata. Now I find myself in the stand generally shouting, don't shoot, pass it to someone else, go sideways and backwards, please. The effectiveness of his shots isn't what it was until tonight, where he keeps it low. He drives it low, drives it hard, and it's clawed out by the keeper, and no one quite... I mean, Wednesday get to the rebound first, then we get, that's the bit where we get the corner that again, Doyle's corner in the second half, much better, clawed out pretty much off the line by the keeper, and it's like a few seconds after that he does the let's think about carrying the ball behind the line moment, all because I think Wednesday annoyed us, that they had the temerity to actually have a go properly and have an effort on goal, and it's like we woke up. And, you know, then Wagner has a free kick like a couple of minutes later. His second half much better as well. And that was the free kick, you might remember, where it looks like it's curling in until Nyman, I mean, just deflects it wide, basically. I don't think, in fairness to him, he could have read that it was likely to go in, and he just wanted to get to the ball and get it in. I sort of like that. I like that he's attacking it. I don't like it goes wildly away from the goal. But... you know, it's like the relentlessness of that period, 50 minutes to 60 minutes. And this is just a matter of time, because the double save happened, 57, 58 minutes? Dux has a go, saved, Iwata straight in on the follow-up, driving in, our right back, desperately keen to get a goal, is the first to pounce on a rebound, saved again. And it looked then really, really impressive that we had that spell in the game, 10-15 minutes. Wednesday finally couldn't get out of their own half. We looked angry, we looked determined, we looked hungry. I mean, that's the thing. What we weren't was sufficiently ruthless. But for those who say we don't have many shots on target, and primarily they say that because we don't have many shots on target, the stats of the game, I mean, tell the story. Sheffield Wednesday had 7 shots, 1 on target overall. We had 22 shots, 7 on target. And I would suggest, I don't have the breakdown of that or anything like that, most of those came in the second half when we were driving at the goal, desperately trying to get the breakthrough, but struggling to do so. Wednesday did have pockets. There was a point on the hour where one of their many penalty claims, again, didn't look like a penalty to me, but I think they were saying Neumann hit his hands or something like that. Then, 62 minutes or so, Barry Bannon goes down with cramp. And, I mean, there wasn't much sign of some of ours going down with cramp at that point. But then there's a billion reasons why you can get cramp, and not having the fuel in the tank to last 90 minutes is one of them. I think most of us thought at that point, wouldn't it be lovely if he went off, because... you know, he is the kind of player who's machine tool to get on our tits, and he's very, very good at it. Eventually, our changes were made on the 67th minute. So 2 changes. Lewis Koumas comes off for Kyogo. I think that might be the last time we see Lewis Koumas start a game for Birmingham City. He's had a good run of a couple of games. Less effective last night, I thought. Worked hard, wasn't getting the breakthroughs. Got a couple of crosses in. Been critical of him in the past. I think he can. I would be surprised if he's a Blues player now in a week or so. Particularly if we get this other winger in from Brighton, who we're now linked with. I expect to see Osman start or in the squad, or Scott Wright even get more of a chance come the weekend. But, you know, I didn't expect him to start last night, and he did, so fair enough. And then Tommy Doyle comes off and John Solis comes on. Now, I don't think Doyle had a brilliant game. last night, really. I thought he was a little bit sloppy with the ball sometimes. I thought he was against Swansea as well. His dead ball delivery, however, is great. He is the midfielder who most seems to want to get the ball forward fast. I just think he's having a kind of bumpy 6 out of 10 spell. I still think he's a really important player for us. He's a player I'd really like. Well, I'd love all of our players to get a goal, but I do wonder what a goal would do for him. I wonder if there are any other players in that lineup who could have used a goal. Let's come to it, because Solis comes on, Kyogo comes on, and I mean there was real impact to these substitutions as well. I still think I did note around this time we seem to be slowing down how long it takes us to take a throw in. But John Solis, 4 minutes into his Blues debut, coming in from the corner of the box, wants to take a shot. Shoots from outside the area. Terrible shot, skies it, but the intent absolutely there. A big, meaty midfielder who got straight in, stuck in, didn't win every challenge, but was up for the challenge, had an intent to shoot. I mean, you can't tell an awful lot of a 23-minute cameo plus added on time, but nothing to discourage us there. And signs are he's A, something a bit different, and B, might be an upgrade. I think he's certainly an upgrade on Willemsen, who I'll come to shortly. And then, then we had a couple of Kyogo moments. Now, it was Kyogo's birthday yesterday, and he had 2 efforts, which, jumping to the end of the story, looked easier than the bugger that went in. So, the first of which, Stano, who went quiet for about half an hour, but then the ball was barely in their half. There wasn't much he could do. Closes down their defender, robs him. Slight suspicion of a foul, but I think the defender was quite weak, really. Sets Kyogo up, who's ready and calling for the ball. Does a fluff kick. You're just like, no. I dreaded what this video was going to end up like. Then, Solis passes to Kyogo not long after, and I did write down, he just doesn't know yet. Solis, he hasn't quite worked out the lay of the land there. There was another chance on 81 that Kyogo had. You're looking at it just thinking, well, it was a tougher chance, but should he have scored it? But we're pressing them. Wednesday, by this point, having less and less foothold in the game, really. Apart from the odd break, the odd little spark, but it became fairly clear the last 20 minutes. They didn't have much ammunition on the bench. They were running out of steam, and I just feared this was going to be a 0-0. I was confident. I was uncharacteristically confident going in. Feared the goalless draw, and then we get a stroke of luck, in the sense that you make your own luck sometimes, and this is what happens when Stansfield's running and fishing around the penalty area. Wagner puts in a cross, it gets across to Stansfield. He doesn't hit it cleanly, really, and it looks like it's going wide. Well, it was going wide. But there's Marvin Dux just to steer in basically an open goal. All the Wednesday players, their hands go up. You're thinking it's offside. My hand goes up. I think it's offside. And then you see the replay and he's just been played on. You're just like, well, there you go. There you go. Within 30 seconds of that going in, 83rd minute goal, fair play to the travelling Blues fans who you could hear all game. How shit must you be? We're winning away. 1-0 up. And this is generally the bit where I just felt... I remember we were 1-0 up against Preston and we just dug in. And I was just like, oh, God, what are we going to do here? Because they're going to come at us, but surely they're going to leave gaps. Which they did, not 2 minutes later. Kyogo picks up the ball, runs the length of the pitch. Very difficult to get a shot off, really. Wins a corner for us. Then, delightfully, Scott Wright comes on 88 minutes. What a year that bloke has had. At Swansea, he stood on the sidelines in his kit, waiting to come on as sub for his first performance, his first appearance in a blue shirt in a year. The ref blows the final whistle. Here he gets a couple of minutes. We still don't know what Scott Wright has come back. Puts himself about a little bit, but what a delight to see him back on the pitch. All power to him. 91 minutes, off comes Dux, on comes Willemsen. Now, he's another one. I think his time is probably at an end with us. The first 4 months of last season, I thought he was immense. Then he got the injury, was out for a period of time. It looks like a different player's come back. I'm grateful for what he did in those first few months. But he's not playing championship level, is he? It's the same problem with Kumas, really. It's just like they look obvious upgrades we can make there. Maybe and we may well have done in both of those cases already. Osman might be the upgrade on Kumas, and then Solis on Williamson. But, I mean, it gets a round of applause off me for what he did for us. But I think it's time to move on there. It's a fairly ruthless business. I don't think he deserves like the Keshi Anderson, let's cancel the contract and put an announcement on the website thing. But shake hands, move on. The worry actually was on the other side, that Jamal Lowe comes off for Sheffield Wednesday. On comes Nathan Redmond. And the commentator saying, the experienced Nathan Redmond. Bloody hell, that makes me feel old. I remember him coming off the bench in the Europa League qualifier and scoring as the bright young thing. Nathan Redmond's now the experienced one. He's now the one who's on a temporary contract only till the end of January because he can't get a club. The one we had to sell when our finance... I mean, he was the most depressing first sale, wasn't he, of that era where it became clear we weren't going to go back up to the Premier League. Our finances were in the toilet. Our owner was in prison and we were being asset stripped. And Nathan Redmond, what a career he could have had with us. But now he's called experienced Nathan Redmond. So there you go, folks. Petered out. A 1-0 win. Comfortable 1-0 win. Nothing remarkable about it. Nothing to like get, just kidding. I'm just kidding. It happened. It absolutely happened. A back pass. A backpack. Kyogo for months has been chasing down hopeless balls, closing down defenders and keepers, hoping to force the error so he can put the ball wide or whatever, you know. His work rate, great. This time he gets the ball and I mean, the baffling thing about his goal is it was by distance his hardest chance of the night. I'm looking at it, it's just like, how the hell's he got it in from there? He's just missed from 4 yards out, not 10, 15 minutes ago. And now you're telling me he can do that? I mean, the eruption in the away end when it happened, and it's a bit like, where were you when you heard Elvis died, isn't it? Or JFK shot. Where were you when he scored that goal in the away end? And you know what? You know, he's got 2 in 3 now. And I mean, he's fluffed a few in that time. But if your return is now 2 in 3, if you're scoring in 66% of your games, the fluff in the chances matters so much less. He got his goal. He looked as happy, right, as one of my kids did on Christmas morning many years ago when I got them the Paw Patrol shit that they wanted. I mean, he was happy. I was happy. We were 2-0 up away from home. Obviously, we won the game. But at the other end, apart from the moment where it hit the post, you know, I mean, James Beadle just didn't look that tested. He looked like he owned his penalty area again. There was one bit here where he came out and punched, but I thought, yeah, that's probably the right thing you've done there. You've punched it a mile. That's great. And that's 2 games running. And I say this because there's talk of us signing James Beadle at the end of the season. There's talk, not everyone's particularly happy with him, but that's 2 8 out of 10 performances he's put in for us. I know last night he didn't have to do an awful lot, but when he needed to, he had the ball, caught the ball. His clearances, crap. I mean, a couple of them worked, but most of the time it was kicking the ball between goalkeepers. But let's look at the improvements in this team. Let's not punch these people down. We've had a run of games that's the fixtures, apart from the Coventry one, have been useful for us, but we're getting the results. And so we got a clean sheet. When was the last time we got a clean sheet? You know? I mean, was it what? Well, God, I couldn't even tell you off the top. Was it November or something like that? It's a long time. So last night, to summarise, we broke the league away game hoodoo. We broke the clean sheet hoodoo. We broke Kyogo, smashed the hasn't scored a league goal hoodoo. I said after the Coventry game that had to be a turning point. You can't put in that performance and then go back into your shell. And it's building blocks, isn't it? Because away at Cambridge, we did what we had to do. No one came away thinking, oh, we were great, but still got the result. Away at Swansea, much better away performance. I can still see the gaps in it, but we've signed a few players to plug those gaps, but we thought we got a point. Away at Sheffield Wednesday is what you would call a professional performance, where the first half was not great, the second half was perfectly fine. We did not play great. We did what we had to do. We worked hard. By the end, we were fitter than them, and we were still going when they were on their heels. They've got a couple of players in that Wednesday team in a couple of years I expect to be motoring up the league and doing really well for themselves. But for the here and now of this, we've won 2-0. So, Let's go back. Go back to the 2nd of January, right? The day after the Watford game, where we were, 10 points off the playoff spots, looking down the table rather than up again. Here's how the league stands. We are now 13th. We are 5 points off the playoffs, courtesy of getting 7 points from 9 league games. We are now 5 points off the playoffs. It's the hope that kills you. We are 10 points now off the relegation places. And, you look at who's down there. Sheffield Wednesday are gone. We've got Oxford away coming up the end of this month. Portsmouth looking tricky. Blackburn in freefall. Norwich did well. West Brom, God, you have to fear for them, really, after the capitulation last night. And again, going back to that WM phone-in last night, because I thought I'll listen to that. And only a couple of Blues fans get through, clearly chuffed. The long line of unhappy Albion fans, it's like listening to Wolves fans before they change manager. There are big problems there. And Charlton, are they going to get more points? I don't know. It strikes me now that it's useful for us to look up, isn't it? If the whole thing is let's lift our standards and stuff like that and lift our expectations, although not quite to the sky-high levels at the start of the season, why don't we look up? We're home to Stoke at the weekend. My lad's the mascot, actually. We're home to Stoke, who are 3 points ahead of us. All right, they're playing tonight as well. So our home form's good. Can we get something from that? Then we're away at Oxford United? And then after that, we've got home games coming up against Leicester, against West Brom, before we go to Norwich. There's a chance of a run here. It's in front of us. The signings are filling me with optimism. Optimism as I'm wearing a blue shirt and I've got optimism. I don't know. The culture's got it. Is it the culture? The mood is just changing a little bit again. My plea to this Blues team: don't blow it. Don't blow it, because we've had peaks and troughs of this season. We've had that run in November where we were smashing 4 goals past people. Then we have a rubbish patch. We started really well. Then we had a rubbish patch. Then we had a good patch. Then we've had a rubbish patch. Now we're in a good patch. Imagine if the second half of the season we didn't have to have the rubbish patch. That we were getting the games where we play rubbish, we're getting a point. We're finding a way instead of 2-0 down by half time, fully expecting the third. If we can just lift it, if we can lift ourselves to that, and the opportunity's clanging in front of us, this might not be quite the season some of us were expecting 20 days ago. Hope that kills you. I'm almost scared to say it out loud, but I'm not one of these who says, it's too early to challenge to go up, or the team's not ready, or stuff like that. Football is a game where you never quite know who your opposition are going to be, how strong they're going to be. If the opportunity is in front of you, it's incumbent on you to go for it. And now we've got free scoring Kyogo as well. Folks, what could possibly go wrong? Could have another blueberry.